Good morning, Inderanil. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you. No, it's well, I can hear, but it's like an electronic sound rather than a voice. Don't know if you've got problems. Don't know if you've got problems with your microphone. No.
Hello.
Yes. I heard that.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Bit of a late comer, I'm afraid. I've forgotten to click on the link to book myself a space.
All welcome.
I think Martin did the same because I said, did you click on the link and book his space? And he goes, oh no. I said, are you going to Martin's to Robin's form? Yeah. I said, have you booked your space? Oh, bugger.
It's not. Yeah, it's just that. I mean, at the end of the day, the details are always the same details. So
yeah.
So yeah. Hello there, Claire.
Hi, Robin. How are you?
All right.
Good.
Morning,
Busy
everyone.
these days, which is good.
Oh, yeah. We like to be busy rather than the other way, don't we? Really.
Yeah. Inderanil, how is the hotel? Is it still as busy as ever, or
Yes.
has it dropped off?
No. It looks it's very busy till the end of this month, and October is filling up nicely.
Oh, it's not just the summer English British tourist. Then it's
It's all domestic tourists basically. So,
yeah.
But
Do you find it's the older generation now?
I guess we always saw the grey pound being the strongest pound around here. So
I start suspecting that everyone goes back to work and realize how much unspent holidays they have. I know some of my friends realize that they have nearly whole months and years coming to end. So I think that's they holidayed on their furlough, and now they holiday on their holidays.
Yeah.
Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, Austin. How are you?
I'm all right. I haven't seen you for a little while. I've been out and about.
Yeah, I haven't been on LinkedIn much myself. Been quite busy with a few projects, so yeah, it's always get it while you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Morning, Michelle.
Morning. How's everyone?
Good. Bit rainy outside, isn't it? But
Awful weather. Heat waves over.
Oh, you need to be in Barnstable. We've got kind of a bit of blue sky and some
I'm
white
jealous.
clouds, but I don't think it's going to last very long.
That sounds like a fantastic book. You need to be in Barnstable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it normally, but
Great time to win it. You'd walk past and go, you need to be in Barnstable? I mean,
you've just given me my title for my next piece of social media, Austin. Thank you.
perfect. You can have that. And remember, any business that comes out of it, I always require my 5%. But other than that,
Okay.
I'll send you some free COVID tests in the meantime.
Yes, but with the rain, the gardens could do with it, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Morning, everyone.
Yes. Morning, Jan.
Hi, everyone. Morning.
Morning,
all.
Alan.
Morning all.
Morning,
Morning,
Kim.
Kevin. Morning, Julia.
Morning, morning,
everybody.
morning, Julia.
Welcome, Jamie. First
Good
time.
morning.
Hello, Lucy. I see you guys. Are you part of the new IOH West of England, Lucy?
Sorry, I had a brief moment there. Yeah, the vice chairman. You
Ooh.
coming on Thursday?
I've got a note to it, but I'm not sure if I'm still not sure whether I've got a time in my calendar at the moment. It's I'm a bit stuck now because I've been on the southern one as a member of the committee. So, but West of England's obviously closer to home. But
Yeah, we've got Harry Murray coming as well, which is going to be exciting.
Good grief, Harry Murray that used to be at the Imperial about 150 years ago.
Yeah, and Torquay, absolutely. Yeah, Putnam Park now. So no, you should come along. It should be good. Got some good suppliers there, and nice to finally network in person.
Yeah, I remember Harry Murray when he was at the Imperial in Torquay when I worked for Peter Rand.
So where is it? You just said it's in person. I didn't realize it was actually a physical one.
Yeah, no,
Whereabouts is it?
It's in the Centurion Hotel in
what a surprise.
with Mark Mann.
Yeah, that's why I saw it, because I saw he was involved. So I might actually on Thursday I'll be traveling in the evening. So anyway, right. Yeah, slowly everybody joining. Morning, Nicholas.
Good morning.
How are you? Morning,
Yeah,
Simon.
very well, thank you.
Hi, Robin. How you doing?
All right.
Traveling somewhere nice on Thursday, Robin?
No, just coming back from Wales. I've got a project out in North Wales, so it's a 4-hour drive there, 4-hour back.
Yeah.
Stay over a night. But yeah. So it's nice. It's a nice place. It's a nice drive, nice countryside once you get off the motorway. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think we're getting up to quorum now. Everybody joining in. How has everybody had this past couple of weeks? Has it been busy? I've been busy. But
Hell yeah.
How is the events industry? Is it now really ramping up?
Yeah, it's getting a lot busier now with a lot of the venues, but there's still an air of caution there. You know, a lot of the stuff that's coming through at the moment tends to be the smaller meetings, 25, 30s, 50s. But there's signs of the larger events coming through for Q1, Q2 next year, which is all very positive. But hybrid's still featuring quite highly with a lot of corporate buyers as well. So
I think caution. Yeah, I think hybrid's here to stay. I would agree. I think getting everybody to travel from all over the country to an event is probably now just not cost effective, unless it's a specific reason to have them physically in the room, as it were. So
yeah, but I think it's not just a matter of sort of people being reticent to meet in the same room. I think from a sustainability point of view, carbon footprint of any particular event, then hybrid just works with a larger audience.
Mm-hmm. And when you say small events, just because there's 25 people in the room doesn't mean actually there's not 150 people at the event.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. Or larger. We were talking to one client who did a hybrid, and they had 50 people in a venue, and they had 2,000 people online. So
wow.
Across the world. So it does open up lots of opportunities. And if the marketing's done correctly by the venue that are hosting the live part of it, then it can give them a hell of a lot of exposure. Mm-hmm. As I'm sure quite a few people on here will understand.
Marketing? Does anybody know about marketing on here? I'm sure there's one or two.
Dabble.
yeah, you look across the screen and there's actually quite a varied, I mean, area of work experience, or like, you know, knowledge across the forum. It's quite healthy. So anyway, moving on. Today, our first presentation, we have Claire Snow, who's going to talk to us all about that most important thing for hotels, which is customer experience and customer satisfaction. So I will just make sure you can share the screen, and over to you, Claire.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, it's lovely to meet you all this morning. I'm Claire Snow and I run Snow Limits Consulting, and I help businesses overcome the challenges when they're sort of growing and developing their team, particularly around customer experience and employee experience. So that's just me. So I'll just share my screen. I've got a little presentation just to go through in terms of creating happy customers, which is what we all love. So, okay, so in terms of what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to look a little bit about sort of what is customer experience, and then sort of look at actually why it's important, and look at how do you tailor your service so that you create some happy customers. So in terms of customer experience, what is it? So it refers to sort of how customers feel or perceive the whole series of encounters when they buy goods or services or interact with the company. So it's not just when they're sort of physically with you, you know, in the hotel or restaurant or whatever sort of organisation you run. It's actually everything from end to end. So your kind of email communications with them before they arrive. It could be actually how they find negotiating your website. So it's the whole interaction with you and your organisation. And it's also both the kind of physical product or service that you deliver and also the kind of emotional feelings that they have about you and your business. And in terms of sort of customer experience, what we sometimes do, often without realising, is that we kind of pass our problems on to our customer, and we'll sort of look at that in a little bit. But actually sort of why it's important to have great customer experience is that 86% of people would pay more for a great service. And 72% would share a positive experience with 6 other people. So we were just sort of laughing and joking about who does marketing. Well, if you have a great customer experience, they do the marketing for you. And just another little stat that's quite interesting is actually investing in new customers is 5 to 25% more expensive than nurturing the existing ones that you have. So there's some really interesting facts that sort of sit behind why it's important to just really remember your customer experience and why it's important to your business. And in terms of sort of passing the problems on, so why does a great customer journey count? I'll just give you some examples of how sometimes we inadvertently pass our problems on to our customer, and then sort of have a little look at what to do about it. So I'm going to share a little tale of tale from the toilet. So I visited the ladies' loo in a lovely new office building, and a notice appeared saying that to flush the loo, you needed to press both the large and small buttons together. And as a temporary measure, if you were kind of working in those offices, you'd be okay. You'd think, okay, well, at least they've told me, and you know the plumber's on its way. So yeah, that's, you know, they're kind of doing what they need to do. But if that sign was still there nearly 2 months later, starting to look a little bit dog-eared, and there's no sign of the plumber, and so what has actually happened is that the problem of their plumbing has now become my problem as the customer, because every time I visit the ladies, I have to kind of flush the toilet in a particular way. And at that point, as a customer kind of who's paying for those services and those offices and is bringing my own customers into those offices, how do I feel about it then? Well, I'm not quite so forgiving at that point. So sometimes we do these things and we kind of put it up as a temporary measure, and for whatever reason, life gets in the way and we don't fix it as quickly as we should. And actually, all of that time it's impacting our customer. And if they're a regular customer, you know, they'll forgive you for so long, and then at some point they'll turn around and say, well, actually, do you know what, this just isn't good enough. And some other examples, once I sort of started thinking about it, around where organisations have sometimes passed problems onto the customer, and I'm sure some of these you'll kind of know and love, is the self-service checkout. So the idea behind the self-service checkout, we're told, is that, you know, it's for our ease and for us to get through the checkout quicker. And actually, in reality, you know, you have a little look and you read some of the research, it's not always quicker to go through the self-service checkout, because you'll get the unexpected item in the bagging area. You have to find the tiger rolls in the bakery section, and, you know, you do that once every week or, you know, month or whatever, whereas actually a trained person who's doing that every day will be able to find it in about a tenth of the time that it takes me to work out where I need to go. You know, if you have a problem or issue, there's one person dealing with 12 checkouts, and you may have to kind of wait for that person to come and sort out your problem or issue. Another example is kind of your online forms. So actually, have you tried to fill out your online form yourself? Because quite often, sometimes the forms are sent to you, it says check the box, and you try and do that online and you can't do it. So the only way that you can kind of do it is either print it off and then fill it out on paper, scan it back in. So again, you're kind of inadvertently kind of creating issues for your customer to actually fill out that form. And if it's too difficult, they will go somewhere else. Another thing is kind of your trolleys. So if you think about your trolleys, and when you go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's, so I went to the new Lidl that they'd opened in Barnstaple, and I had to put £1 in for a trolley. I'd got a lot of shopping to do. I hadn't actually got £1 because quite a lot of people don't carry cash anymore. The thought of kind of doing my shop and putting it all in a basket was just too much. And I knew that Sainsbury's next door didn't charge you for their trolley. So that's where I went, and I spent my 60 quid there instead. And again, you know, another sort of example is your lovely call center, where you call in and you have to go through all of the options. So, you know, the idea is that you get to the person that you need to speak to more efficiently. However, as a customer, it feels sometimes that you have to know the ins and outs in every single department of a company's business before you actually get to the person that you need to speak to. And then if you're really unlucky, they turn around and say you've pressed the wrong buttons and you've got to go through the whole thing all over again. And if it's the tax office, then I think we've all felt that pain. So yeah, so these are some examples where sort of organisations have, with the best intentions, put things in place that they thought were going to kind of save time and effort, and actually they've passed problems on to their customer. So it's just kind of worth having a little think about your businesses and just see if there's anything like that happening there. So in terms of sort of what's the problem with doing that, so 28% of customers say the most frustrating thing is simple but hard to find information. So again, you know, things like, can they easily find your contact details on your website? Can they easily book, or do I have to kind of go through several screens to be able to do that? And 13% of customers share a negative experience with at least 15 people. So if you compare that to the 7 people that I'd share a positive experience with, it's quite an interesting statistic. And obviously we're in the world where online reviews are easy to post and people quickly know about poor experiences. So it's about just understanding what your customer journey is. So all of those different touch points with your customer, and, you know, how easy is it for your customer to do business with you? And remembering that it's just not about that physical product or service, it's about how you make people feel as well. So the emotional side of it. So in terms of actually solving some of these problems, it's about thinking from the outside in. So thinking from the customer's perspective, looking into your organisation. Now, there will be some things that you have to do because it's legal compliance and all of that sort of thing. So those things have to be designed with your business in mind. But there are other things that actually you can think from the customer's perspective. So here's some sort of examples. So if we sort of look at the Amazon sort of pickup box here, so what they found was a lot of people were out when their deliveries were being delivered, and you know, they'd then get the card left, or they'd have to sort of give a safe place, and so they came up with the idea of a drop box, so you could drop your stuff into the box and actually you didn't have to have that worry of, oh, my Amazon parcel's arriving, I'm not going to be in. So actually you can get it picked up from there at any time that you like, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then if you look at the one in the middle around the eye clinic, so you know, you would think actually going into the eye clinic, you're probably going to have an issue with your eyesight. And what they've done here is, rather than put the sign for the eye clinic in the blue on white, which isn't as easy to see, they've made the sign you know, clearly visible with yellow on black, which is good for people with visual impairments. So they're actually thinking about their customer trying to find their way around a hospital with sort of limited sight. So really thinking about that from the customer's perspective. So it is just about sort of putting yourself in their shoes. So, you know, if you do have a physical premises, it's always really interesting to kind of start from outside the customer entrance and walk it as if you're a customer looking at it for the first time, because you'll see things that you've potentially been walking past for months and months and months. So that's always a good tip in terms of actually just be a customer for you know, half an hour, have a real look and be critical about kind of what you see and how you see those things. And then in terms of a sort of another way in terms of creating a great customer experience is actually about sort of understanding the different types of customers. And if you've worked in hospitality for a long time, you'll probably identify with what I'm going to sort of talk about here. So I use something called the DISC model. It's around communication. And it talks about sort of 4 different communication styles. And if we sort of relate that to some customers, I'll give you an example of how you can quite easily tailor your service without costing huge amounts of money. And actually your customers will, you know, engage with that type of service much more than if you just delivered something standard off a sort of script. So I'm going to sort of give you an example of, you know, if you go to the supermarket and you ask, you can't find the jam, and you ask the shop assistant for some help in finding the jam. Now, it used to sort of, they used to have a bit of a script, and they used to have to kind of tell you exactly where it was, and they'd have to offer to kind of walk you to the jam and show you exactly where it was. And by having that particular type of script and a very prescriptive way of working with their customers, they're probably only appealing to one of these 4 customer types, and I'll sort of go through that now. So in terms of tailoring your service, our first communication type is a sort of red or a D customer, which is D in the DISC. They're quite direct, quite firm. They're very task focused, decisive, straightforward, and efficient. So these are the sorts of people that when they sort of email or contact you, they literally kind of you pick up the phone and they're already asking you exactly what it is that they need. So there's none of this kind of, hi, how are you? It's all very much, I'm phoning because I want to book X, Y, and Z. And you know, it's very much about that service. So if this person came to the normal place where the jam was supposed to be in the supermarket and they couldn't find it, what would happen is they'd go, right, okay, they've moved the jam. So they'd have a look around and find the nearest shop assistant. It wouldn't necessarily matter what they were up to. So they could be stacking shelves or busy doing something else. They'd literally walk over to them and ask them, can you point me in the direction of the jam? Their expectation is not for that person to handhold them and walk them to the jam. Their expectation is to be told that it's in aisle 6. And at that point, they're probably off and running to go and get that jar of jam already. So if the customer service assistant was going to try and take them to the jam, they'd probably have difficulty keeping up. And in terms of the customer's expectation, they'd be, you know, really frustrated with that, because I know where aisle 6 is. You don't need to hold my hand and take 10 minutes to get there. Okay, so the next kind of style of customer is a yellow eye. So this type of customer is quite outgoing, quite enthusiastic, very optimistic, lively, very more of a people-focused person, and can be quite impulsive. So what this person would do was get to the jam, they'd see that it's not there, you'd probably see them actually kind of go and then they'd kind of make a big thing of, oh dear, they've moved the jam, what are they doing? So this person again would kind of look for a shop assistant that could help them. So they'd go over to that person and they'd probably make a bit of a joke of it in terms of, oh, you've moved the jam again, you've just done it to, you know, annoy me. In a very light-hearted and joking kind of way. And then they'd kind of ask them where the jam is. Now, this particular type of customer, there's kind of two ways it could go. So if the person is having a bit of a laugh and a joke with them, they'd probably be quite happy for that person to walk and show them the jam because one, it's easier, I don't have to think about it. And actually I can have a little bit of a laugh and a joke along the way. And they'd probably end up talking about what they're going to get up to at the weekend in the pub and all of that sort of stuff. So, you know, they're kind of very much around, you know, that sort of service with a bit of energy and a bit of a kind of lightheartedness. So your next type of customer is a green customer or an S, and this customer is very much about loyalty, consistency, again, a very people-focused sort of style, about sort of security, helping others, and very much a bit of a peacekeeper. So this style of customer, what they do is they go to the jam, they can't find it. The first thing they would do is go, okay, so where will it be? So they'll go and have a look around the store and see if they can find it themselves. Because the last thing they want to do is kind of upset somebody who's in the middle of doing something and looks really busy. So they then kind of have a look around the store, maybe not be able to find it themselves. Then they'd kind of look for a shop assistant who looked like they weren't too busy that they could interrupt and kind of have a conversation with. So potentially they'd then go over to that person and they'd say, oh, you know, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt. I know that you're really busy. Can you help me? I'm trying to find the jam. I know I should be able to find it, but I can't find it anywhere. So again, if that person then offered to take this person to the jam, this particular style of customer would probably be mortified because they not only have they interrupted you in their job, you're now putting yourself out for them to go and take them and show them the jam. And actually, you should be doing the job that you're doing. And so they'd be quite probably embarrassed by the fact that, you know, you're going to take them to the jam. So they'd just like you to sort of explain, you know, where they need to go and how they need to find it. And then our final style of customer is a blue or a C. So this particular style of customer is very analytical, very precise, practical, very process driven, much more of a task sort of style and very logical. So what this particular style would do, they'd go to the jam, it's not there, so then they'd apply some logic. So they'd go, well, it's normally in with all the cooking stuff next to kind of the eggs, so that's where I'll go first. So that's where they'll go and apply some logic.
You look at the signs as well.
And then if they can't find it, that's the point at which they then go and ask somebody. And they'd ask somebody, and what they'd expect is quite a precise and practical way to go and find this jam. So they wouldn't just expect you to tell them that it's in aisle number 6. They'd expect you to tell them it's in aisle number 6, which is down that way, and it's on the bottom shelf towards the end of the aisle, for example. So they'd expect a little bit more information in terms of actually what you're telling them so that they can quickly and easily find that jam. So you can see if the shop assistant did the standard of telling the person and showing them, there's only probably one of these 4 styles of communication that would actually appreciate that type of service. So you're actually sort of delivering a service that turns off 75% of the people that are going shopping. So by giving your employees an understanding of the different styles of customer and allowing them to deliver their service, tailoring to the different styles, you're actually delivering a service that more of your customers are going to appreciate. So hopefully that has been sort of useful and interesting in terms of just sort of having a little think about that. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It can just be how you word your emails. So if, for example, you get a red customer that emails you and they're very direct in their communication, they won't be offended if you're quite direct back and just tell them the information they need, and you don't have all of the fluffy, hello, how are you, hope you're having a good day, because that would just annoy them. If your customer writes and actually they are kind of asking, you know, hope you're having a good week, then actually respond to them in a way that reflects them. And again, you can really quickly pick up the styles over the phone as well. So, you know, just in terms of how people talk to you when you first engage with them will give you a little bit of a hint of their preferred style and how to kind of talk to them in a way that they'll actually appreciate in terms of the level of service that you're giving. So in terms of sort of why bother, so 72% of happy customers share with 6 or more people, and 83% of customers feel more loyal if you effectively resolve an issue. So even if you have a problem, if you work through that problem with them, deliver the service in a way that they appreciate, then actually they will feel more loyal and come back to you. Obviously, if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, there's a different story there, but actually they will forgive you to a certain extent. And by sort of effectively tailoring your service, it's a really great way to deliver a service that your customers will love and will come back to you again and again. And that's what we're all kind of here for, isn't it? So that is my whistle-stop tour of customer experience and sort of tailoring your service. So, and if you wanted to sort of receive any other great hints and tips, I've got a little bit of a newsletter you can sign up to there. And I do run some workshops as well. And if you wanted to find out about that, then you're more than welcome to have a conversation with me. So hopefully you found it useful.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Claire. Excellent. It just occurs to me, you know, the CRMs that we have, the PMSs and all the rest of it, they're always trying to put more and more into it to create that sort of, and the reason Guestline was so popular is because it had the profiles that told you when the birthday was and when this was and when the other was, and they like smoking. Do we envision that in the future, actually, one of the items on the profile will be, or this person's sort of like category, as it were, so that when you actually go to send out an email to this person, you almost have to choose which email you template to use?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in sort of call center environments where they haven't necessarily put it in their CRM, but their call center teams, if they have regular people that are regular customers, they do have that information there. It hasn't necessarily got as formal as, you know, stock standard templates depending on the style of customer, but they have that information and they do take that into account when dealing with them. So yeah, I think in terms of this sort of type of tailoring your service, it is certainly something that people do, and whether it necessarily goes into systems and things, but yeah, they do keep records and so they can remember if they've got, you know, hundreds of people that they're dealing with. But yeah.
Good. You know, I kind of related to the D as far as I'm concerned. I think.
Okay.
So it was. I think it does definitely work. Anybody got any questions for Claire? Any comments? No. But yeah, I can certainly see from a hotel operations point of view, I can certainly see how as companies progress, they do need to take these things into account, because it is a case of, yeah, perceiving what each particular client actually expects to be. It's almost like the whole concept of guest expectations, isn't it? If you do not achieve their expectations, then you fail, as it were, even if their expectations aren't that high. But if you know, their expectations might just be how you treat them as a client. It may be nothing to do with having expensive linen or good amenities. It might just be a case of how they feel when they're interacting with the team, as it were. And I think it's a very important point to take into account. So,
it used to be that we used to teach everybody to, treat others how you want to be treated, whereas now we've learned that you have to treat people how they want to be treated.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and I think when you see, so you can see it on hotel check-ins and things, if you kind of stand back and observe, and you've got somebody who's a real expert in this, you can actually kind of see them doing this between customers and things. So yeah, I do quite like to do a bit of people watching just to kind of see, and there are some real expert people working sort of particularly within sort of the hospitality sector, and you just sit back and watch them, and yeah, they are really good.
I think the old concierge, that was their golden tool, wasn't it? The actual fact that they knew exactly as soon as they spoke to a client, right, this is a D, I have to deal with him quickly, get him out result, and he'll be happy. Whereas depending on which client it was, they could adapt to that type of client and give them what they were expecting to receive as a service. And that's why they were so popular in hotels, and why almost it's kind of a bit of a loss that these days there aren't that many concierges. But that knowledge needs to go through to the whole guest relations team, doesn't it? Okay, so sorry. Okay, so moving on. Thank you very much for that, Claire.
That's all right, no worries.
You can unshare your screen. And next on the agenda, we have Kim, who's going to talk to us. And I have to be honest, when she first started talking to me about middleware and apps and things, I kind of thought, well, is it related that much to the day-to-day? And I suddenly realized that actually it's something that I've been dealing with and using all my life as a financial controller. I just never actually realized that's what it was called. So, so over to you, Kim.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to see everyone today, get to know people. Finally, we're looking towards autumn and winter to some in-person events. So hope to see you guys at some events later in the season as well. I shall start now. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see?
Yeah, no.
No.
Have you shared the screen, or have you shared? No, nothing's scared at the moment. Out there, it's coming up. There we go. Nice to find it.
Okay. So thank you for having me. I'm here to take you through today just a little bit about middleware, a very high level overview. I'm not very technical at all, so apologies in advance. So I hope everyone can sort of join along today. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on it, to hear, if you're familiar with it, how much you guys use it sort of day to day. And basically here to tell you how hoteliers, vendors, software providers can leverage middleware in order to boost your hospitality business. So it's very nice to meet you. My name is Kimberly Ramsey. I have spent so far 5 years in hotel tech, so still relatively new, 7 years in tech sales in general. I'm passionate about customer service and the guest journey. My role within Tiger has really helped me to sort of drill in on that, hone in on it, which is fantastic. Helping hoteliers to make the most of their existing software architecture. Originally, I'm from the Isle of Man. Just in case there would be any questions about my accent, I am from the Isle of Man. And most importantly, within my portfolio, I believe, is that I am an avid dog lover. So firstly, I think it's important just to define what is middleware. So middleware essentially is the oil or glue between systems within a hotel that wouldn't normally be able to transfer data. So where they don't have a direct interface or communication, this is where middleware will come in. Why might hotels need middleware? So we have here a schematic from IHC a few years ago. If you look at it, we can see the property management system is the center of the universe. All data flows come through or tend to pass through the PMS. So whether it's directly or if it's via middleware, perhaps, the property management system as you know it today has been sold this way since the 70s, and it is widely regarded as the most important piece of software in a hotel. And in many ways, it still is. We would liken it to the mitochondria to the cell. It is the powerhouse of our tech stack within a hotel. Essentially, if you're not familiar with a PMS, as Ron said before, it essentially manages the day-to-day operations within a hotel. So your booking systems, your check-in, your check-out, integrations to telephone systems, point of sale, your F&B costing, reporting, and so on. The question is, should every application be directly integrated into the PMS? Or in other words, should all roads lead to Rome? Let's just have a quick look. So traditionally, currently, most hotels today will have this kind of software architecture. So you see the PMS in the middle, and we have separate interfaces off the PMS into each of our softwares. Now, you may have some of these softwares, you may have more than these softwares, you may have more or less of these interfaces, but this is generally how hotels will be set up today. The issue is, with the PMS being the center of the universe, it can have additional costs to interface directly off a PMS. So it's additional cost to purchase perhaps an interface, to maintain an interface, and for the support on that interface. It might take months to develop. We love PMS systems. We always want more integrations. So they have a long list of people waiting. Hence, there might be a longer wait for the development of a PMS to a particular type of software. If you want to add that to your tech stack, it can take a long time. It also means you're directly just tied into the PMS. So then the software that you've integrated just speaks to the PMS. It is extremely difficult to change as well. So going from the PMS, I think it would be interesting just to have a quick look at the perception of the PMS, and I would be interested to hear your guys' thoughts after this. So a recent survey has found that, if we take a look at the first slide, 80% of hoteliers that have been surveyed do agree that the PMS is the most important bit of software within a hotel tech today. Completely agreed. The next slide indicates that hoteliers do regard the PMS as experiencing somewhat of a plateau in its central role, but we do expect it to retain its importance within our architecture. And this is because, according to the survey, the most desirable functionality that a PMS can have is its supported or available integrations. So we love PMS systems, we love what they can do. The most appealing thing about them, according to hoteliers, is their amount of integrations. However, the most dissatisfying element is the lack of integrations that are supported. So we love that they support integrations, we just want more of them. Now, a PMS system, it's a very large system within a hotel. It is a central system, and it is a large project to take out or change a PMS system. However, 1 in 5 hoteliers say that they are very likely within the next 12 months to change out their PMS systems. This could be due to a lot of reasons. So despite a potential lack of available funds, for those who don't have the resource to do so, this is where middleware now becomes invaluable. We're looking for more integrations. Shall we change out our PMS? Shall we see what we've got and see if we can leverage our existing architecture? So middleware, it uses an API, and a very light example of an API, which is an application programming interface. Very, very simply put, is a waiter will take an order from the table, take it to the kitchen where the order is then completed, and he will bring it back, the order, to the table, just as we asked. Thank you very much. So this is the ideal format for super effective and easy data transfer directly between 2 systems that speak the same language. Fantastic. The next slide, this is API evolution. So when we're talking middleware, it's essentially connecting APIs. And this slide is representative of the changes in APIs. You may remember lots and lots of years ago now, essentially, we used to have serial connections. So literally a serial physical cable where we would connect our systems together. Things have changed since then, so fantastic, we're moving along. And over the last few decades, it has evolved. So we've gone from physical to a SOAP interface. And SOAP, as the name might suggest, it is a clean and fast way of requesting data. Since then, however, REST API has become even more desirable, and this is due to the fact that it just supports more efficient data formats. So getting the data using a REST API is much, much easier. So it surpassed its predecessor SOAP in its cleanliness of data transfer, if you would pardon that terrible, terrible pun. Another type of open API we have, if for example, is the Muse PMS API. It is an open API. Any software developer can write to this API. However, it is still a proprietary API. So this means that you do still have to write a certain code to integrate. However, anyone can do it, which is just fantastic. We need more of this. And this is because our industry is constantly changing. We need to have agile solutions within our hotels to ensure business longevity and not to be spending too much money on interfacing in general. Other kinds of APIs, so even more proprietary APIs. There's certain PMSs that have their very own interfacing protocols. It's a very, very sticky API, so it's very, very specific, and you must adhere to strict protocol, which is only available in ways that are dictated by the PMS. So this actually reinforces the hub and spoke architecture, where we have the PMS system right in the middle. So again, great for PMS systems. However, we want more integrations, more freedom. And so this is where middleware again comes in. So why middleware? So open APIs, even, they are a bit like languages, and we still need a translator. So if you can't directly translate, then we will use middleware. So without middleware in a hotel, we might have systems that merely, they're just all over the place. They're not really talking to each other, not passing information. So middleware is really the bridge between and the translator to allow for an efficient data flow. Unless one or the other software takes time to learn the other's language, we will need middleware. So it speaks the language of both applications and acts as a translator. So you can see here on this slide, middleware interacting with two separate applications. It can also interact with multiple applications at once and speak many languages at once. It does depend on the middleware. However, this is quite common functionality between lots of middlewares. Not only this, it can also be used in many layers, and it's actually specifically useful for dual flagged properties. And they're gaining a lot of traction in the States. We're now starting to see some dual, maybe even triple flag properties in the UK and Europe. So you can see on this slide, we have two separate PMS speaking to one interface on the middleware, which then passes the information to shared systems. So middleware can allow dual flag, triple flag properties to share resources, yet to be able to run separate operations and separate properties. Why is middleware important to the guest experience? Oh, there's some additional things on there already. So a guest will interact with lots of software. So before, during, after their stay. So for example, TVs in hospitality, there never actually used to be a direct integration available into hospitality TVs and the PMS. However, with changes in the guest requirements, so when we go traveling now, it used to be great. Oh, you could access some online listings, fantastic. You could cast onto your TV, that's brilliant. But what we would really like to do is we'd like to bring our own Netflix with us. And we want to open our own Netflix and carry on what we were watching at home. We want to bring home with us to the hotel. That is what is maybe the minimum that is expected of the modern traveler today. So with the power of middleware, we're able to provide additional functionality around guest requirements. So essentially we have middleware connecting the PMS to the TV to allow for them to watch their own Netflix. They can check in. They'll have a nice little customized welcome message on the TV as well from the PMS. Lots of different functionality available just by connecting your PMS via middleware to your TV, so your IPTV. Again, allowing you to fulfill the modern traveler requirements. Also express checkout, which is fantastic. A lot of people expect this now, to not be waiting in queues, especially post-COVID. So we need to allow for these kinds of things within our tech stack. So you may already have middleware in your hotel. You may have software that's using middleware. You just might not be aware. So having the decent and flexible middleware, it does empower hoteliers to select from a large range of software to enhance your tech stack. So I would encourage you to check from your provider the integrations that you have available. Perhaps there will be some quick wins. Perhaps you can consolidate your interfaces off to your middleware provider and save some money when interfacing directly to the PMS. Having middleware also means that you have architectural scalability. So not only does a hotelier have the choice to scale their architecture and suit their needs and goals, it doesn't bypass the PMS. The PMS is doing all the work. It's analyzing our data, it's giving us the reports, it's fantastic. So also, we're not bypassing the PMS, but by having middleware, we ensure everyone is speaking the same language, passing all of that data, maximizing the data flow, and maximizing data is so important nowadays. As Claire said in her presentation before, the more data we have, the more we can understand about our guests, our operations, and the more we can anticipate things that will happen, add, remove, be flexible, especially important post-COVID. We don't want to be just wasting money if we don't have to. So again, architectural scalability. Middleware, it opens the door to more. So essentially by speaking lots of languages to new and old software, middleware opens the door to a hybrid offering. So you can utilize the legacy software. Perhaps you've got a very, very old phone system. We all know a lot of hoteliers, we want to sweat the assets, we want to make the most of them. You can make the most of them using things like middleware to ensure a solid connection between all of your systems. You can add new systems using middleware, and you can connect them to your old systems as well. So most importantly, we note that the middleware isn't restricted on the PMS interface availability, so it's not dictated by the PMS. It also allows hoteliers and service providers to choose best of breed, so we're not restricted around our choice. We have freedom of choice with our integrations and to suit your strategy. Do you have a lean strategy? Is your strategy guest services? Is it ROI? What is the strategy? So again, middleware can help you to hit your strategy and to put that into practice. Sorry, choose the best of breed. Yes, in today's climate, we must be flexible to reduce the ongoing costs to ensure business survival. So the thing we love about the PMS is the selection of the software and interfaces available. However, the most restrictive element is the interfacing. So it's a double-edged sword for PMS companies, hence the need for middleware right now. So very, very short benefits. I'll just put these up here. It is for all hotels, no matter how small, how large. You could have software that could be directly speaking to each other. Perhaps it's not for data collection. Middleware ensures no restrictions on the PMS connectivity, freedom of choice, lower entry and ongoing costs. So yes, it would be probably less money to interface using middleware rather than the PMS. Again, and that's due to supply and demand. PMS companies have lots and lots of requests for interfacing, hence it will cost more. Speed of deployment, probably quicker with middleware, and that's again because PMS companies have lots and lots of demand. Reduce onboarding, allows hoteliers to have an agile and flexible architecture. It can allow you to deliver an improved guest service as well, and this is because of our data flow, it's not interrupted. And I would encourage you to check with your provider to see if there's any quick wins that you can get. I would like to open up potentially to Q&A and hear some of your thoughts on PMS and middleware. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you very much. Yes, quite complex, but yes, definitely very important.
So sorry.
Very important. I've spent all my career having to sort out problems with interfaces and connections between different softwares, and having things linked together and communicate is it's just as people. It's communication is so important.
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions for Kim? Any comments?
Kimberly, hi.
Hi.
I thank you so much. This is welcome to my world. This is wonderful.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
the biggest opportunities are twofold, particularly for our community, Robin.
Yes.
One, it makes it all of the technology, it makes accessible to every size of property. So you can have a stunning hotel with relay and chateau, and it's using only small elements, or Mr. Banerjee, your technology, the hotels and the properties might only be using, they might be on the Synexis Sabre CRS, but only using some elements of that technology. They might be on a fantastic PMS and using that PMS's booking engine because of connectivity issues, and they feel they're tied to that booking engine. Whereas middleware like this, it enables properties to make the fullest use of each piece of technology that they may already be using. You know, there's an awful lot of hotels that are using, say, the Sabre CRS, but they're only using one tiny part of that. Whereas with a little bit of help and working with their PMS company with some middleware in between, that just opens up a lot more efficiencies and sales opportunities. So Kimberly, thank you. This is, yeah, it's great stuff.
Thank you so much for your input. It's excellent and completely agree. Yes, freedom of choice. It just allows us more opportunity to collect more data. Very, very important. Just like Claire said, the guest experience, guest journey. As hoteliers, we need to know, anticipate problems that might come up, i.e. Robin, interfaces dropping, different things like that, losing revenue on the calls that are being made. So it is very important to have middleware, and just to be aware, you know, if your PMS offers additional functionality beyond what you're using, best ensure your staff are trained to do that and to make the most of it. Integrate it into your operations. Same with middleware. If there's something that you can do, you should probably do it. If there's additional functionality you can have, make the most of it. And especially today, we're trying to spend less money, run lean operations, and be data centric. And that's what middleware is trying to help us do at the moment.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Anybody else got any comments?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Kimberly. This
Hello.
is Mr. B. I really think you have struck on something which will be a gold mine in the very near future.
Oh,
we recently had been, and as Kat had said, I mean, we had spoken about this kind of an interface for a long time. And recently we had been shopping around for a new PMS system. And I sort of relearned that the world has changed of the PMS. There's nothing known as PMS anymore. It's like you're going shopping in a supermarket and you get a variety of things from shelf, and it's up to you to pick up one from here, one from there, and somehow have to and decide on which PMS has the connectivity. I think your system has actually dissolves that boundaries altogether, so that one can decide on one PMS and then they can select on any add-ons they want with any kind of services. Hang on to this company. You are in for a huge bonus payout in the near future.
Oh, thank you so much. I will pass that on to my boss. Thank you very much. Thank you. I take your comments. I think it's so fantastic. I'm glad. I'm really, really happy that the presentation went over well. And the way that you say it about being modular, completely agree. Whenever I send out our integrations list to customers, I say, here's the Hoteliers suite shop. Have your selection, you know, because it's freedom. And this is via middleware. Yes, PMS systems should educate on what is available. They should be very transparent and encourage people to make the most of a PMS. However, middleware can help to soothe it and offer additional things to suit your strategy, just like you say, modular being a very, very good word there. So thank you very much for that.
Yep. Anybody else? No. I'd just like to comment, it's not related to this. Thank you, Kim. That was an excellent presentation. Everyone. And yes, just like to comment, because of workloads, and also because everybody's got higher workloads, the forum will be moving to a monthly date in the middle of a month from now on. I just feel that sort of like we've got over the pandemic, thankfully. The forums, I hope it's brought everybody through the pandemic with a little positivity, as it were, and looking also the availability of presentations and all the rest of it. I've decided that probably the best thing is just move it to a mid-monthly, once a month session, which the next one will be on the 12th of October. So I hope everybody can join me on that date. One of the sessions we've got booked for that is all about staff benefits. So very, very topical at the moment, of making sure that all our team are happy in their work and happy with the company. So that should be interesting, and hopefully continue to have the forum going onwards for times to come. Okay, so I think with that, if anybody's got any other comments, if not, we can probably draw a close to today.
Robin, I was just going to say, probably don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's probably, not an endless amount of presentations that could be given, but perhaps I think I joined on about number 15 or 20. So maybe it's worth thinking about repeating some of those earlier presentations that might be applicable right now as we, move into the autumn. And
yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, yeah, there's certainly some back there, but we're very interesting and are always applicable. So yeah, and times have moved on. We've got a different set of sort of like audience now. So yeah, could be worth a thought.
We could also do another little competition, invite some more hoteliers. And
that's because you won the last one. Yeah.
Not competitive much. But also, it would be wonderful. There's obviously a lot of people here that I have met face to face, but there's a lot of people that I haven't met face to face. So if anybody is at the Hotel 360 exhibition at Excel at the end of this month, or at the business travel show or the meeting show at Excel, so it's that 4 days at the end of the month and the 1st of October. It would be great to meet face to face, and maybe if there's enough of us, we can. It would be absolutely my pleasure to host people for drinks at the Sunburn Yacht Hotel. If you are, then drop me a note on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Yeah, I know. Jan and Jan's at the Independent Hotel. Is that correct, Jan?
In October, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably be down there walking around as well, but yes, yeah, it's all about meeting up. Now we can physically meet people. It's quite a difference. Okay.
TMS will be there, so hope to see everyone at the events.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for your assistance, and look forward to seeing you again in 1 month's time now. Hope you all enjoyed it, and keep busy.
thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, Robin. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, Robin. Have a great day.
And you. Bye. Save the chat. Where's the chat? Where's the chat? Okay, let's save the chat.